Okay, it should say recording at the top of your screen, or REC. Do you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think we'll just wait for one more minute, and so we'll start right at 2:05. But in the meantime, we can just kind of, just sit and hang for a little bit. Okay, it is 2:05, so we'll go ahead and get started. The first part is just going to be a lot of me talking and just sort of giving you everything that I have going on in my head. And then afterwards, there's time for questions and that sort of thing, and some comments from you and that sort of thing. Because I think your input on this is really important. So yeah, if I'm looking up, it's because I have two screens and I have the script on one screen. Yeah. Well, hello and welcome, everyone. I think I know most of you, but I know that there are some students I haven't met yet. So I'm Mr. Kwan, and if you are here to learn about orchestra and what that will look like in CDL, then you are in the right place. Welcome, and it's good to see you. If you're not signed up for orchestra, I don't know that this is the right meeting for you. Just putting that out there. And for those that I already know, I've missed you guys a lot, and it's really good to see you guys here. I was told about a week ago that we have to have sort of a plan in place for CDL by today, and that we would be presenting it to parents and students with a Q&A session, and that we'd be recording the interview, the session. And so if I seem a little nervous and a little stiff, that's probably why. But yeah, we've already established that you guys have the schedules, and you guys see that we are in Q2 for both classes. And yeah, things are just going to be a little different than a normal year in orchestra. And we'll kind of go through what that will look like. So yeah, these are definitely different times. Honestly, if we were in person, I would definitely have an assortment of cookies for you guys. Store-bought, of course, but still good. And gluten-free options too. And I'd definitely be in my go-to start of the school year outfit, my collared shirt and my suit jacket and jeans, fresh kicks. But here we are, and we're unfortunately distant, but we're ultimately safer. And I think we can still have a really great experience in orchestra. My goal is to make CDL the best experience it could possibly be by creating opportunities for community and connection, in addition to a focus on musical growth. So one of the things that I talk about kind of at the beginning of each year is why I teach orchestra and why I don't do anything else. So my why really hasn't changed. I think I've told you guys this before, but there's really two reasons why I teach orchestra. So one is just the fact that music is, for lack of a better way of saying it, just amazing, right? It gives us enjoyment, and we feel human when we hear it and make it. It's around us all the time. If you watch any sort of TV show or movie, or you're in a car with a radio, you've definitely heard music throughout your day. And so to understand it and to create it ourselves, it gives us a feeling of accomplishment. It also allows us to appreciate and respect a diversity of culture by exploring the music of all different types of people. And the other reason is that through the process of learning an instrument, we learn life skills. So learning to persevere through mistakes and learn from them instead of letting them discourage us, among others. And it's the enjoyment of music and the life skills learned in orchestra that I think prepares students to develop into adults who will make positive changes in the world. And so that's why I teach orchestra. I know that I haven't really been clear about that in years past, and so people have kind of attributed different things like competitions and that sort of thing. But those two things are really my only reason for teaching orchestra. Some other aspects of the class will be the same. So this focus on community and connection has kind of always been there, and it's going to be a big part of our class, even in CDL. Yeah, so I think the focus right now is going to be on community and connection is going to be even more important now that we're distant. And I hope that orchestra is a safe place where students can be themselves and find belonging in a potentially isolating time. And I ask that we help each other through this time, and we take care of each other. And most of our connection with community is going to be taking place in our synchronous lessons. And so we'll kind of talk through that right now. So yeah, synchronous time, we will have it, but it'll be different than us meeting in person. And I'll kind of talk about the differences here. So we will be using Google Hangouts Meet, which allows us video and audio communication. But unfortunately, this introduces latency or lag just by the nature of wireless connection. So that means if two people are playing at once and they're perfectly in time, it could sound out of time, which is problematic. So we have to be really creative about how we go about it. So this is why we won't be able to perform all together at the same time. There was a suggestion to sing Vivian Happy Birthday, so maybe we can test that out, and you guys will see how different of the lag makes for things. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Vivian.
What's up, Mr. Klein?
Hi, Brent.
Hi.
All right, so there are lots of different possibilities for how we will make this into a CDL type of experience. And so this is where your input is going to be really helpful for me, because I need to know what you guys need to get out of this class in order to make it feel fulfilling, because it's not going to be the same as when we meet in person. So one possibility is that everyone is muted and one person plays something and everyone plays along, but since everybody is muted, it doesn't really there's no lag issue or anything like that. The downside to that is we don't get to hear each other play. Another thing would be for me to sort of give lectures, sort of really short lectures on technique, and then have you guys try it, either muted or just kind of one by one, and see if we can refine some technique asynchronously when we practice on our own. The third option might be to have sort of a college model. So when I was in college, we would have private lessons outside of class, and then we would have to practice. And then we would also have a sort of synchronous time where we'd all meet together. And basically that time was for people to sort of perform solos for each other and get some feedback on it from peers. So that would involve us having to learn solos, if that's something that would be interesting to people. But yeah, again, your input is going to be really important. And yeah, we can kind of talk a little bit about that at the end. And also again in November, since we're having this meeting now, and then we'll have class in November. So our asynchronous time will be really similar to years past, where you were just practicing for 30 minutes a day. It's just really 5 days a week. And it really is kind of the rock bottom in order to keep your skills going. And I've had a talk like this with kind of band and choir students in the past, and I think orchestra is a little different, where it takes a lot more time and consistency in order to gain some skills. For example, if you just moved your first finger like a millimeter off, then you're playing an entirely different note. And so it does take a little bit more time practicing at home. I am going to keep the practice logs from our distance learning in the spring, where we use Google Forms to fill it out. All right, so let's talk about grading, right? Because if the class is going to change, I think grading is going to have to change in order to be fair for all of you. So one of the things that I have been thinking about is just this idea of, instead of having our playtests be attributed to a grade, having it sort of be attributed to feedback, and having feedback be more important than the actual grade in the class. So here's what I have been thinking about that. So we will take a passage of music, we will practice it, we'll turn in a video via Google Classroom, and I'll score it using a rubric, and I'll give you some written feedback or spoken feedback. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that effectively. And then the next step is students review feedback and the video that you submit. So basically you're rewatching videos of yourself, which I understand is not the most exciting thing to do. Whenever I have to do that, I don't know, I cringe a little bit. So I understand, but it's really helpful. And yeah, and so if you do those two parts, I will just give you 100% on that play test, right? And so I'm trying to take the stress out of the grade and the score and that sort of thing. And so basically making the score not so much important as the feedback that you might get. And then there's really going to be no penalty for late work at all. So, you know, we really don't have to worry about that. But I will say that in order to continue with the sort of next cycle of the playtest, you want to kind of get that turned in a timely manner. Because, yeah, the next cycle will actually be to take the same passage of music that you turned in previously and implement some of the feedback that I give you. And so basically we are just building on what we already know, which might sound a little tedious, but I think it's a better way of working on a passage than just kind of a one and done type of thing. So it's a focus on learning and growing from our mistakes instead of just having a one-off type of thing. Performances, obviously we can't perform in person at the moment, but there is a plan in place between band, orchestra, and choir to have a sort of virtual concert. So we will basically just choose a piece, and we're going to use an app called Soundtrap. And basically we're going to use that to collaborate digitally and create a concert of that one piece, and that we can share with our friends and family. And hopefully that'll give us a sense of accomplishment for the entire quarter. I've never actually used Soundtrap before, so there is a big learning curve for me, but that's the application that the department decided to use. I do have a bit about how parents can help support students, but seeing as there are no parents in here, that doesn't really make sense. So I'll just skip to the last part. I just want to say that I care about you all. I want you to stay safe, both physically and mentally. And hopefully having this community will help with that. I want you all to succeed at orchestra. I remember in college there were some professors who had basically made it their whole goal as professors to become that tough professor that nobody would you know, get an A in their class. And that's not really my style. I want you to succeed, and I want you guys to all have a really good time in here. And I also want to help you develop into amazing adults. So, you know, I think the work of teachers don't really get fully realized until our students leave us and they move on to bigger and better things. And it's been an absolute joy seeing previous students go on to do amazing things in life and succeed. And I just want that for all of you, not so that I can say, hey, look at me, but rather so that people can say, hey, look at you. And I can say, hey, look at them, and be proud as your teacher. So this is true every year, and it remains true in CDL. So thank you all for being here, and I think this is your time to ask questions. And I do want to comment on the nice shades. Cool. So do you have any comments or questions or any thoughts on this? I know it's a lot of talking from me.
Will there be play tests at all?
Yeah, so that whole cycle of recording a video and turning it in and then getting some feedback, that'll be our play test. The only difference will be the grading of the play test. So it won't be based on how well it sounds. It just is whether or not you turn it in and sort of do the work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I feel bad. I don't have any shades on me right now. Hey, shut.
My shades are in the car.
Don't worry, I don't either.
I mean, I have my blue light filter glasses.
Oh, my camera's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, do you have a question?
So when we're getting the music, are we like getting it online?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to have to sort of talk with some people about how to get music out to you. Whether we mail it to you or have a pickup day or send it to you electronically. And I think we still have some music from last year. Is that true for everyone?
Maybe.
I'll have to double check, but I don't think so.
Okay.
So for that, what was it that app that you're talking about where we like collaborate digitally? Is that basically like we record ourselves while listening to a click track, or how's that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And again, I haven't had too much experience with it, but I'm told that basically, so I think it's going to start with one person playing the piece, and then everyone who gets the next. So like it would pass to person number two, and so person number two would hear person number one playing, and they would match to that person. And then person number three would get person number one and person number two. So they'd be able to hear both of them and match together. And so kind of build it that way is what I'm told. But I'm definitely going to spend some time checking it out, though.
Okay.
So for that, would it be all three classes, band, orchestra, choir, we would be doing a piece together? Or is it just individually, each individual class, and then we do all three videos for the concert?
Yeah, it was my understanding that we'd have band, orchestra, choir, and we just do one piece separately.
Okay. And then by order, would we do like chair order or just?
I'm not sure. I don't think we'll really have like an opportunity to do chairs, mostly because it really doesn't make sense in distance learning anymore. So yeah, but there may be possibilities if we do meet in person later on that we might have chairs, but yeah, I don't think at this time we'll have them.
All right. So probably alphabetical then.
Yeah, yeah.
My last name, of course. Should we sing happy birthday then?
Yeah, any last questions or comments or thoughts?
Oh yeah. If we didn't pick up the varsity letter from last year, do you know if we're still like able to like go and pick that up this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they're in my office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not sure how that all works with sort of picking up things from school, but I can definitely email someone for you and find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Nice. Yeah, so I'll definitely ask for your input again when we start classes in November, because I think that'll be important, just so that you guys have some, some buy-in into the class, that you guys get to help create the class with me. So it's not just some weird abstract thing. But yeah, I think that is the end of this meeting. So I'm going to hit stop recording.